Compact Bible Dictionary, edited by T. Allen Wright. Regency Reference Library, Zondervan Publishing House. We're on page 267. Okay, we're going to get into the understanding of Japheth's son, Javan. It says, a region settled by one of the sons of Japheth. Genesis 10 verse 2. Javan was the name of this country to Ezekiel, who saw it as an important trade center. So Javan, notice in parentheses it says Greek, Ionian, came to the name of Greece to the Hebrews. Okay, so Javan became known as Greece. Genesis chapter 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan. That's the one we want to look at, Javan. Japheth's son Javan, who became known as Greece, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphtah, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, and Kittim. Kittim is called Rome today. And Doedim. So we want to concentrate on Javan, son of Japheth, because there's two thoughts out there amongst the Israelites. One, that Japheth has always remained in power, never was conquered, always stayed in their land. And the other school of thought is that Esau conquered everybody and removed Japheth, son Javan, and replaced him. Let's see what happened. Okay, this name of this book is African Presence in Early Europe, edited by Ivan van Sertima. All right, I'm on page 67 of this book. I want to look at the underlined portion. I'm getting to the point. The true home of the Greeks before they won domination in Greece had passed clean out of their remembrance, and they looked to the east, not to the north, as the quarters from which some of their ancestors had migrated. So now, it says the true home of the Greeks before they won dominion in Greece. Wait a minute. The true home of the Greeks before they won dominion in Greece. Meaning somebody was conquered. Had what? Had passed clean out of their remembrance. So the Greeks won dominion over somebody in Greece, and their origin they have forgotten. It passed clean out of their remembrance. Let's pan down. Let's go right here. According to it, Greece had originally been inhabited by primitive tribes. I can't pronounce that word, Pelasgians and others, and had then been settled by Egyptians and Phoenicians, who had built cities and introduced irrigation. So Greece was originally inhabited, Greece had originally been inhabited by primitive tribes, and they're calling them, the people that were there first, Egyptians and Phoenicians. So the Greeks, before they won dominion in Greece, they conquered some primitive tribes they think were Egyptians and Phoenicians. Let's examine that a little more closer. Okay, this is page 90 of the chapter called Blacks in Antiquity, Ethiopians and the Greco-Roman Experience. Let's go over to page 91, shall we? I'm going to start right here. I'm getting to the point on these things because this issue must end. For example, he finds that the word Ethiopian was used by Greeks to refer to the sunburnt or black-faced distinctions between types of Ethiopians, black-faced people, such as Eastern or Western Ethiopians, as well as their various shades of black color. Snowden examines the language of Greece and Rome and finds that it is full of references to the color of black people such as Afar, African, Indus, Indians, Moris, Moor, Milas. These words were used as equivalents for Ethiopian. So when you read Greek history, you can find all these words which make reference to Ethiopians or people with burnt faces, black-faced people. Okay? Hold on now. Here's another book by Frank M. Snowden Jr. called Blacks in Antiquity. We're on page 22, the physical characteristics of Ethiopians are archaeological evidence. Let's get to the point here. I'm going to start at the word hence. Hence, the long history of the Negro in classical art must be examined for the light that it throws on certain physical types which the Greeks and Romans had in mind whenever they used the word Ethiopian, meaning faces burnt, and for a record of many Negroes seen at different periods on the streets of Alexandria, Athens, where's Athens? Greece, Rome, Kittim, okay, and elsewhere. The significance of the word Ethiopian, unless supplemented by archaeological evidence, cannot be fully understood. So this author writes that the Greeks and Romans used the word Ethiopian many times in describing dark-skinned people. It says, and without archaeological evidence cannot be fully understood. Why he always did that? Okay, let's go over to the beginning of this chapter. Art in some respects more valuable than literature as a source of information for anthropological data, because it tells us much that the texts do not about the amount of prognathism or its total absence, the extent of, giant words here, meaning you need art to identify who the Greeks were, who Rome was, who the people are that are being referenced. Okay, in the same book, Blacks in Antiquities, I'm going to jump down to what they say about the wars in Greece. We all saw the movie, what was it? Troy, where you had Achilles and Agamemnon, whatever you say his name. Watch this. In a description of another scene of the Trojan War, Philostratus notes that the pure black of Memnon's face, you remember Memnon, that was the guy Achilles couldn't stand, shows a certain ruddiness, that means youthfulness, okay, and adds that in Ethiopia, Memnon was transformed into a statue of black marble. Further, in earlier accounts, Memnon had been referred to as a king of the Ethiopians or as a leading Ethiopians to Troy, and no mention was made of his color. In the Roman period, however, Memnon was considered at times definitely black and Ethiopian. Now I'm going to go to page 48 to show you what this Greek Memnon looked like, because they're saying he's Ethiopian. Okay, let's go to page 48, shall we? Oh, here we go. This is the art they were talking about that you need. Detail of heads of Memnon and Negroes from black-figured neck amphora. 530, what's the year in this? 530 years before Christ. And this is about 200 or something years before Alexander, the Greek. Look at Memnon. Look at his soldiers with him, all black. This is Japhet, okay? They use the word Ethiopian to describe any dark-skinned people. Any brown-skinned people they call Ethiopian. Memnon was of Javan. This is Javan, son of Japheth. Okay, this is who these people are. Okay, now let's get a closer look. Detail of one of Memnon's Negro companions. Black-figured neck amphora, 540 to 530 BC. Up there you go, there you go. These are the descendants not of Cush, but of Japheth. These were the original inhabitants of Greece. What happened to them? Okay, here's another one. Greek artifacts, archaeology. Look at these Greeks. Look at these Greeks. Okay, page 61. They show a Negro and crocodile, South Italy. Italy is Rome. Remember Kittim? Remember I mentioned about Kittim? What happened to these people? Here's another book that you can order called The Dark Age of Greece. This is a book of archaeology which spans from the 11th to the 8th century before Christ. This is about 900 to 700 years before Christ. 500 years before Alexander the Greek, and so on, by A.M. Snodgrass. A lot of you don't realize that Greece had a period called the Dark Age, and this is not making reference to the Middle Ages. This is making reference to the centuries before Alexander the Greek came in 333 BC. Let's take a look inside the book. This is on the internet I'm looking at. This is a picture of Greeks making weapons. What color are these Greeks? That's why they called it the Dark Age of Greece. Why? Because Japheth's son Javan had inhabited this area of blacks in antiquity. Okay? See the picture on the cover? This is the picture we're going to look at. This is showing you that another culture was coming in. Okay? You see this dark skin here and this lighter skin one? Two women, different races, but all in Greece. Okay? This one has moved out. Side and front views of white ground cantharos in shape of janiform, heads of a Negro and a white. It's from Tarkanian, 510 years before Christ. Okay, we're back in this book called African Presence in Early Europe. Okay, edited by Ivan van Sertima. I'm going to page 44. Listen close. Recent excavations at Thera, an island to the north of Crete, that's in Greece, has yielded the fragments of many impressive murals that bear witness to the existence of an African or Libyan element. Remember, they use this term African on anybody brown skin. And what I'm showing you is that when Esau came in, all of the brown-skinned Japhites, the sons of Japhet, Javan, the sons of Japhet, they called them African, Libyan, all meaning burnt faces like Ethiopian. Now let's take a look at some of these murals. All right, I'm on page 46. I'm turning it to the side because it's a side view. Let's look at Japhet. Do you see these black people in this building? Let's pull back. What happened to this black people that lived in Greece? Look, people standing here. You got soldiers on the top, black. People rowing the boat. These are Javan's sons. Here's another one. In Greece, these were the original Greeks, black-skinned people. Black-skinned people. All right, here's another one. Page 51. Okay, look. A war scene. Look, watch this. See that face? Watch what it says. Head of a Libyan African. See that? They put them words on all brown-skinned people. These are Japhet's sons. Look at this. Boxing princes. Long hair that you have. Okay, look. Mycene, 1550 BC. Look at the Greeks on this plate. Dark skin. When Esau came in, they just called everybody Ethiopian. That's what many of these books today, you go calling everybody Ethiopian. Look at this in Pylos. Portrait of an African priest from Pylos, dated 1250 BC. He's not African. These are Javan's sons. All in Greece. All in Greece. Okay. We learn from primary evidence that these Ethiopians, dark-skinned people, Japhets, were in intimate contact with Greece and Rome from the moment that we have records of Greece. Let's read that part again. From the moment that we have records of Greece, meaning our understanding is based upon what the white man has allowed to come out. That's why this author writes, from the moment that we have records of Greece and Rome, and probably before. As is stated by Jones, 1972, Homer writes in the Iliad and the Odyssey. These are two Greek mythology. A lot of these mythologies, Greek mythologies, are based on some truths of the wars that they had, of these Ethiopians as blameless and pious people. They appear at Troy as soldiers under the leadership of Ethiopian general Memnon. Therefore, we learn of Ethiopia and Ethiopians long before there is even a conception, much less a political entity of Europe. As Europe emerges, we have what? We have neither Greece, Rome, nor Europe without Ethiopian contact. Meaning, they couldn't hide all of the dark-skinned people that were there already. That's what this author is revealing. Here, let's go down here. The physical evidence for an Ethiopian black African, in other words, Japheth, presence in Greece and Rome is compelling and extensive. You see that? They couldn't cover up all the black art that was there. This is before Alexander the Greeks, before 333 BC. Now let's take a look at this map. You have Greece here. Right above it you have Macedonia. Okay? I'm going to deal with Macedonia for the time being, because Alexander's father, Alexander the Greek's father, was called Philip of Macedon, king of Macedonia and conqueror of Illyria, Thrace, and Greece. He started to unite all the Caucasians, the whites that were over there. This is his father, Alexander the Greek's father. Okay, bear with me a moment. We're going to deal with Macedonia. Now let's get back to the Bible, okay? The author of our understanding. Let's read this. And it happened after that Alexander, this is Alexander the Greek, the Great they call him, son of Philip the Macedonian, let's zoom in close on that. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, this is one of Japhet's sons, remember, Rome, became known as Rome, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians, Medes. Medes, this was Japhet's son, Media. Okay, when you read Genesis 10. But back to Macedonia. Philip, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Let's read that again. And it happened after that Alexander the Greek, Alexander III, son of Philip, okay, this is about him, the Macedonian, they were from Macedon, that was the beginning there, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So Alexander became the first king over Greece. So Alexander's father was Philip of Macedon, the Macedonian. Let's look at the Macedonians to get a better understanding of the Greeks that came after. Let's go to in the Apocrypha, Esther chapter 16 and verse 10. We're going to get their nationality. For Ammon, this is the same Haman that you read about in the book of Esther. For Ammon, a Macedonian, so Ammon was also just like Philip of Macedonia. He was a Macedonian. For Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Ammedatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, as a stranger received of us. So now it says Haman was a Macedonian. He was not Persian. Now remember, this was the Persian time. They were ruling. So he obviously was not a Mede either. Okay, because the Medes and Persians were working together. But he was a Macedonian, a stranger from the Persian blood. It says Haman was a Macedonian. He was not Persian. Now remember, this was the Persian time. They were ruling. So he obviously was not a Mede either. Okay, because the Medes and Persians were working together. But he was a Macedonian, a stranger from the Persian blood. Let's get a little more in depth into that. Let's go down to verse 14. Watch this. They're still talking about Haman. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. This is the time when Greeks were rising up trying to take down Persia. So they wanted, Haman's job was to go amongst the Persians and get the kingdom translated from the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. Remember, Alexander the Greek's father was a Macedonian. Okay, so this is wartime, and this is what happens. Watch this. Hold on. I'm still in the Apocrypha. I'm in the Esther chapter 12 and verse 6. We're still dealing with Haman the Macedonian. Esther chapter 12 and verse 6. Howbeit Haman the son of Ammedatha the Agagite, who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mordecai and his people because of the two eunuchs of the king. So Haman was the son of Ammedatha the Agagite. Anybody ever heard of Agag? Let's find out about his daddy. Decided to go to the regular Esther and a general Bible that doesn't have the Apocrypha in it, in case some of you go, because some of these Israelites like to say, oh, the Apocrypha is not real. You simple as hell. Anyway, Esther chapter 3. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. So it says the same thing. Haman, the Macedonian, was an Agagite. Let's find out who Agag was. Hold on. 1 Samuel chapter 15. Let's start at verse 5, please. And Saul came to a city of Amalek, and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is, over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. So Agag was the king of the Amalekites. You might not know who the Amalekites are. Hold on. Also remember, it says, and Saul came to a city of Amalek. A city. Not all the cities. It said a city of Amalek. We're in 1 Chronicles chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 35. The sons of Esau, Eliphaz, Ruel, Jeush, and Jalem, Korah. The sons of Eliphaz, Teman, Omar, Zephi, Gatam, Kenaz, Timnah, and Amalek was a son of Esau. Amalek was a son of Esau. Haman the Macedonian was an Amalekite, an Edomite. Genesis 36:1, in case you forgot. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Now let's backtrack. So back during this time of war, the Greeks had sent Haman, a prince of Amalek, to translate the kingdom from, let's get that again in case you forgot. Esther chapter 16 and verse 14. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. Remember what Haman was. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Ammedatha. Ammedatha was descended from Agag, an Amalekite. So these are Edomites. Haman was an Edomite of Amalek. So Haman, the Macedonian, was Esau. Wait a minute. Let's get back here now. Back in 1 Maccabees now. Watch this. I hope I didn't lose you. And it happened after that Alexander, this is Alexander the Greek, son of Philip the Macedonian. So what was Philip the Macedonian? Of Amalek as well. Esau. What was Alexander? What does that make Alexander the Greek? Esau. He was the first king over Greece. This is when the white man Esau came in power. Okay, we're going back to this book, African Presence in Early Europe, edited by Ivan van Sertima. We're on page 67. Again, I don't want you to forget this thought. The true home of the Greeks before they won dominion in Greece had passed clean out of their remembrance, and they looked to the east, not to the north, as a quarter from which some of their ancestors had migrated. So the modern Greeks had won dominion in Greece. Over who? Over Javan. The ones you read about they call an African. No, these were Japhet's sons, Javan. Now we're in the complete works of Josephus. Let's go to page 30. In Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 5. Bear with me a second. Where do I want to start? There were some also who had passed over the sea in ships and inhabited the islands. And some of those nations do still. What nations inhabited the islands? Japhet's sons. And some of those nations do still retain the denominations, mean original names, which were given them by their first founders. But some have lost them also, and some have only admitted certain changes in them, that they might be the more intelligible to the inhabitants. And they were the Greeks who became the authors of such mutations. So the Greeks, talking about when Esau came in power, changed the names of the inhabitants of the land. For when in after ages they grew potent, meaning powerful on the earth, they claimed to themselves the glory of antiquity. So that's why they say civilization started with the Greeks. They were not talking about Japhet's sons, the black-skinned sons. No, they were talking about Esau. Watch this, giving names to the nations that sounded well in Greek, that they might be better understood among themselves, and setting agreeable forms of government over them, as if they were a people derived from themselves. Remember, they forgot where they came from, this new set of Greeks. Wake up, people. We're in Genesis 27, verse 39. Did y'all forget the blessing on Esau? And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. The fatness of heaven means the best places on earth. The dew of heaven means everywhere. And by thy sword shalt thou live, meaning Esau would live everywhere by the sword. Okay, hold on. Back to 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, about Alexander the Greek. Let's get down to verse 2. About the Greeks, Alexander, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. So some of you unlearned Israelites think that these people didn't slay Japhet. They slayed Japheth's sons and took their place, and went through to the ends of the earth. That's what Isaac's blessing was on them. And took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up with pride. Now watch this, getting down here, after he died. And after his death, they, meaning the servants of Alexander, Edomites, all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And evils were multiplied in the earth. That's why they took the Apocrypha out of the Bible. It condemns the lie that civilization started with the Greeks. Because when Esau conquered the ancient Greeks and took their place, evils were multiplied in the earth. Remember, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And none of their colors was ever mentioned. Why? Because they all looked like Adam. When the Bible says in Genesis 2 verse 7, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, meaning they were all different shades of brown. Color is never an issue until you get to Genesis 25:25 about Esau, and the first came out red. Okay? Because Esau's descendants became different shades of red. Okay? Because the blood shows through their skin.